22 degrees, Christmas Eve, and two little girls were sleeping on trash. They'd been there since morning, 12 hours in the cold, waiting for someone, anyone, to care. "Please don't take us back," one whispered when Isaac Smith approached. "We'll be good," the other added, her voice breaking. "We promise we'll be good." Isaac froze. What he'd thought were trash bags piled behind the dumpster weren't trash at all. They were children, 8 years old maybe, younger, huddled together under torn blankets. Around their necks hung small tarnished lockets. Isaac was just a single dad trying to get home to his son. He thought he'd call the authorities, make sure these girls were safe, and move on with his life. He had no idea that what was inside those lockets would change everything. Before we continue, please tell us, where in the world are you tuning in from? We love seeing how far our stories travel. Isaac had almost driven past. The commercial district was mostly empty. Businesses closed early for the holiday. Streetlights reflected off patches of ice, and colored lights twinkled from the few decorated storefronts still open. He'd been thinking about his 6-year-old son, Aiden, waiting with their neighbor, Mrs. Veronica, probably bouncing off the walls with excitement about Christmas morning. But something made him slow down. That movement near the dumpster. His construction manager instincts kicked in. Was someone hurt? Did someone need help? He'd pulled over, put his truck in park, and approached slowly. That's when he saw them clearly. Two small figures pressed together for warmth. Long, curly brown hair tangled and matted with dirt. Faces pale from cold and fear. And around each of their necks, a small tarnished locket.
"Hey," Isaac said softly now, kneeling a few feet away, careful not to frighten them further. "Are you okay? Where are your parents?" The girls stirred. One lifted her head, couldn't have been more than 8 years old, her eyes wide with a fear that made Isaac's chest tighten. But beneath the fear was something worse, resignation, as if she'd been waiting for this moment and already knew how it would end. That's when she'd whispered those words, "Please don't take us back." Isaac's heart broke at the fear in her voice. He kept his movements slow, his voice gentle. "I'm not going to take you anywhere you don't want to go, sweetheart. I just want to make sure you're okay. Can you tell me what's going on?" The other girl sat up now, instinctively positioning herself in front of her sister, like a tiny shield. "We don't have anywhere else to go." Her voice was stronger, but still shaking. Our stepdad said we were too much trouble. He left us here this morning and said we better not come home." What kind of monster abandons children on Christmas Eve, out here in the cold? Isaac swallowed hard, keeping his expression calm. "I'm Isaac. What are your names?" The protective one hesitated, studying his face like she was trying to decide if he was safe. Finally, she answered, "I'm Erica. This is Emma. We're twins." "Well, Erica and Emma, I have a son about your age at home. How about you come with me, just for tonight? It's warm and there's food, and tomorrow we'll figure everything out together. Does that sound okay?"
Emma's eyes filled with tears. "You really mean it? We can come inside?" The question broke something in Isaac. These children had been left on trash, on Christmas Eve, and they were asking permission to come inside from the cold. Yes, absolutely. He stood slowly, offering his hands. "Come on, let's get you out of this cold." Erica grabbed Emma's hand first before reaching for Isaac's. Even accepting help, she was protecting her sister. Isaac filed that away. This little girl had been carrying weight no child should carry. In his truck, with the heat blasting, the girls huddled together in the back seat. Isaac caught glimpses of them in the rearview mirror. Emma kept touching her locket, her fingers trembling. Erica stared out the window, but never let go of her sister's hand. "How old are you girls?" Isaac asked, keeping his tone light. "8," Erica answered. "Our birthday was in March." 8 years old. Isaac's mind raced as he drove. He'd call the authorities tomorrow morning. Child services would need to get involved. But tonight, Christmas Eve, These kids deserved to feel safe. They deserved to feel like someone cared. He thought about his own son, Aiden, 6 years old, full of life and kindness. His mother had walked out when he was barely 2, chasing dreams in Los Angeles and leaving nothing but divorce papers and silence. Isaac had spent 4 years building a life for just the two of them. He worked as a project manager for a construction firm, made decent money, had a nice house in suburban Ohio. It wasn't the life he had imagined once upon a time, but it was good. It was enough. Now, driving home with 2 terrified little girls in his back seat, Isaac felt that life was shifting beneath him.
When Isaac walked through his front door with Erica and Emma in tow, Mrs. Veronica gasped. The older woman had been watching Aiden for the evening, and Isaac saw her take in the scene, 2 shivering children in dirty, thin clothes clinging to each other. "Oh, my word," Mrs. Veronica breathed. "Isaac, what—" "I found them behind the grocery store," Isaac said quietly, not wanting the girls to hear the full horror in his voice. "They need help. Can you grab some of your granddaughter's old clothes? I'm going to run them a warm bath." Mrs. Veronica didn't ask questions. She just nodded and hurried to the phone to call her daughter. In the bathroom, Isaac started filling the tub with warm water, testing the temperature carefully. Emma and Erica stood in the doorway, still holding hands, watching him with uncertain eyes. "The water will feel good," Isaac said gently. "I'll leave you 2 alone to get cleaned up, and there'll be clean clothes right outside the door, okay? Take your time. You're safe here." Emma's voice was small. "Do you promise?" Isaac crouched down to their eye level. "I promise. No one's going to hurt you. Not while I'm here." While the girls bathed, Isaac heated up leftover soup and made sandwiches. His hands were shaking. What had those children been through? How long had they been out there in the cold? Who was this stepfather who'd thrown them away like garbage? "Dad?" Aiden's voice came from the hallway. "Mrs. Veronica said you brought home some kids?" Isaac turned to find his son peeking around the corner, his brown hair sticking up in every direction, his dinosaur pajamas already on. At 6 years old, Aiden was small for his age, but big-hearted, something Isaac had worked hard to nurture after his mother's abandonment.
"Yeah, buddy. 2 little girls who needed help. They're going to stay with us tonight." Aiden's eyes went wide. "Really? Are they nice? Do they like dinosaurs?" Despite everything, Isaac smiled. "I don't know yet, but I need you to be gentle with them, okay? They've had a really hard day." "I'm always gentle," Aiden said seriously. "I'll show them my books." When Erica and Emma emerged from the bathroom 15 minutes later, clean but still skittish, wearing oversized pajamas Mrs. Veronica had brought over, Aiden was waiting. He walked right up to them with the straightforward confidence only a 6-year-old could manage. "I'm Aiden. Do you like dinosaurs? I have like 100 dinosaur books." The twins exchanged glances. Emma nodded shyly. That was all the encouragement Aiden needed. Within minutes, he'd pulled them into the living room, sitting between them on the couch and explaining in great detail the difference between a triceratops and a stegosaurus. His enthusiasm was infectious, and Isaac watched as the girls began to relax, just a little. Emma even smiled when Aiden showed her his favorite T-Rex toy. Isaac noticed that both girls still wore their lockets. Their hands kept reaching up to touch them like lifelines, like anchors to something important they couldn't let go. Over soup and sandwiches, Isaac learned their names were Erica and Emma. They were 8 years old, twins. But when he tried to ask more, where they lived, where their parents were, the girls went quiet, exchanging nervous glances. "It's okay," Isaac said gently. "You don't have to talk about it tonight. Just eat and get warm." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "You're really letting us stay?" "Of course. It's Christmas Eve. Nobody should be alone on Christmas Eve." That night, Aiden insisted the girls sleep in his room. "They can have my bed," he said matter-of-factly. "I'll sleep on the floor with my sleeping bag. It'll be like camping." Isaac felt tears prick his eyes as he watched his son, this beautiful boy who'd been abandoned by his own mother, offering everything he had to 2 strangers because it was the right thing to do. As he tucked all 3 children into Aiden's room, Isaac made a silent promise. Whatever was happening here, he'd make sure these girls were protected. "Mr. Isaac?" Emma's voice was sleepy. "Thank you for bringing us inside." "You don't have to thank me, honey. Just sleep. You're safe now."
But as Isaac closed the door and stood in the hallway, he knew tomorrow would bring complications. Social services, police, questions. The girls would probably be placed in foster care while authorities investigated. The thought of them being scared again, being moved to strangers, made his chest ache. But what else could he do? He was a single father with a full-time job. He barely managed with just Aiden. Still, those two little girls sleeping in there, they deserved better than what life had given them. Christmas morning brought unexpected magic. Isaac had managed to wrap some of Aiden's toys before dawn, a stuffed animal, a puzzle, some art supplies, and put them under the tree for Erica and Emma. When the girls woke and saw presents with their names on them, their reactions were pure wonder. "These are for us?" Emma whispered, as if she couldn't believe it. "Of course," Isaac said. "It's Christmas." Erica's eyes filled with tears. "But we didn't." "You don't need to do anything to deserve Christmas," Isaac said gently. "You just need to be here." The joy on their faces as they opened those simple gifts reminded Isaac why this holiday mattered. Aiden was thrilled to share, helping them unwrap things and explaining how each toy worked. By noon, the three children were inseparable. Over the next few days, as the girls began to relax into the safety of Isaac's home, small pieces of their story emerged. Emma flinched when Isaac reached for a plate too quickly. Erica asked permission before doing anything, even getting water. They both ate like they weren't sure when the next meal would come. Finally, one evening while Aiden was asleep, the twins broke down. They told Isaac everything.
Their stepfather's name was Derek. He hadn't always been mean. At first, he'd seemed kind, taking care of them when their mom got sick. But then he started using something, they didn't know what, that made him angry and unpredictable. "He'd hit us when we made noise," Erica whispered, her voice barely audible. "Or when we asked for food." "Mom tried to stop him," Emma added, tears streaming down her face. "But she was so sick. She couldn't—" Isaac's hands clenched so tight his knuckles turned white, but he kept his voice gentle. "What happened to your mom, sweetheart?" "She got really sick. Derek said she had to go to the hospital, but we never saw her again. He said she didn't want us anymore." Isaac's chest tightened. These children had lost their mother and been abused, all in the span of months. "Then yesterday morning, Derek woke us up before it was light. He drove us to that dumpster and told us to get out. He said we were too much trouble, too expensive, too loud. He said if we came back, things would be much worse than sleeping in the cold," Emma finished, her voice breaking. They'd been there for almost 12 hours before Isaac found them. Isaac listened, his heart breaking with every word. When they finished, he knelt down to their level, looking both girls in the eyes. "Listen to me. What happened to you was wrong. None of it was your fault, and I promise you I won't let anyone hurt you again." "But where will we go?" Erica whispered, fear creeping back into her voice. "Foster homes are scary. The kids at school said—" "You're going to stay here," Isaac interrupted. "I'm going to apply to be your temporary foster parent. I'm going to take care of you while we figure everything out, okay? You're safe now, I promise." He had no logical reason to do this. He barely knew these girls. He was already stretched thin as a single father. But looking at their tear-stained faces, at the hope warring with fear in their eyes, Isaac knew he couldn't do anything else. They'd been through too much. If the least he could do was protect them, give them stability while the system worked, then that's what he'd do.
The caseworker who visited after the holidays seemed surprised but supportive. Isaac's background check came back spotless. His home was more than suitable. And most importantly, Erica and Emma refused to leave his side, clinging to him whenever anyone suggested separating them. Within a week, Isaac was approved as their temporary foster parent. He also hired a private investigator, a guy he'd worked with on construction site security issues. Isaac wanted to understand everything: who their mother was, where this Derek had gone, what had really happened. He owed them that much. The next few weeks transformed Isaac's household. The girls began to heal, slowly shedding layers of fear. Aiden became their fierce little protector, always making sure they had enough to eat, sharing his toys without being asked, holding their hands when they seemed scared. One afternoon, Isaac found Emma teaching Aiden how to braid hair, all three of them giggling on the living room floor. Another evening, Erica helped him make dinner, carefully following his instructions, her face lighting up when he praised her chopping skills. They were becoming a family. The private investigator's report came back with disturbing details. The stepfather, Derek Rivers, had a history of substance abuse and multiple arrests. He'd apparently fled the state after abandoning the girls, probably knew what he'd done could land him in prison. Isaac immediately contacted the police with all the information the girls had shared about the abuse. Between their testimony, medical records showing old injuries that hadn't been reported, and the investigators' findings, there was more than enough evidence. Within 2 weeks, Derek Rivers was arrested in a neighboring state and charged with child abuse and abandonment. When Isaac told the girls, they cried. Not from sadness, but from relief. They were finally safe. He was finally gone.
"He can't come back?" Emma asked, her voice small. "He can't come back," Isaac confirmed. "I won't let him near you, ever." It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon, about 3 weeks after Christmas, when everything changed. Isaac came home early from work to find Erica and Emma sitting on the floor of their shared room, both crying softly as they stared at the lockets around their necks. They held them open, gazing at whatever was inside with such longing that Isaac's chest tightened. "Hey, what's wrong?" he asked gently, kneeling beside them. Emma quickly tried to close her locket, but Isaac had already seen it. His blood ran cold. Inside was a photograph, a young woman with bright eyes and a radiant smile. A woman Isaac had loved more than anything in the world. A woman who'd vanished without explanation 9 years ago. Lisa Sampson. His hands trembled. "Can I see that?" Reluctantly, Emma handed him her locket. Erica did the same, watching his face with worried eyes. Inside each one was the same photograph, slightly different angles, but unmistakably the same image. The same woman who disappeared from Isaac's life, leaving him heartbroken and confused. "This woman," Isaac said, his voice barely above a whisper, "who is she?" "That's our mom," Erica said, tears streaming down her face. "We miss her so much. We don't know where she is." The room tilted. Isaac looked at the girls, really looked at them for the first time with this new information. Their eyes, that particular shade of hazel green he saw in the mirror every morning. He'd noticed they were pretty distinctive eyes, but he hadn't made the connection until now. They were his eyes. And now that he was looking for it, he could see other things. The shape of Emma's nose, the way Erica's eyebrows arched, the stubborn set of their chins. No, it couldn't be. Lisa had been pregnant? He would have known. She would have told him. But the girls were 8 years old. The math lined up perfectly with when Lisa had disappeared from his life. Isaac's mind raced back 9 years. He'd been 23, in love for the first time, planning a future with Lisa. They'd been together 4 years talking about marriage after graduation. Then one day, she was just gone. His mother had been the one to tell him the truth, that Lisa had taken money she'd offered her, a substantial amount, and left to be with another man. Someone with better prospects, better family, better everything. His mother had always said Lisa wasn't good enough for him anyway. Isaac had been devastated. He tried to find Lisa, to hear it from her own mouth, but she had seemingly disappeared, changed her number, moved away. Eventually, heartbroken and exhausted, he'd stopped looking. He'd met someone else eventually, Aiden's mother, but that relationship had been a disaster from the start. She'd left when Aiden was 2, and Isaac had poured all his energy into being a good father. But now, sitting here, with 2 little girls who wore Lisa's face in lockets around their necks, who had his eyes and her smile, Isaac felt the foundations of everything he'd believed begin to crack. "Your mom," he managed to say, still trying to console them, as even his own world tilted. "What's her full name?" "Lisa Vanessa Sampson," Emma answered, her voice breaking. "She got really sick, and then Derek, our stepdad, he said she was gone, and we couldn't see her anymore. But we don't know if she... The girl couldn't finish, but Isaac understood. They didn't know if their mother was alive or dead.
"It's okay," Isaac said, pulling both girls into a hug, even though his heart was pounding so hard he could barely breathe. "We're going to find out what happened to her. I promise." After he'd calmed them down and they'd gone to play with Aiden, Isaac sat alone in his room staring at the Lockets. His mind wouldn't stop racing. The timeline matched. Lisa had disappeared 9 years ago. The girls were 8. If she'd been pregnant when she left? The resemblance was there now that he was looking for it. But he couldn't make assumptions. Couldn't let himself hope or rage until he knew for sure. The next morning, Isaac took the girls to a clinic for a DNA test, telling them that was just routine paperwork for the foster situation. They didn't need to know yet. Not until he was certain. The wait for the results was the longest 3 days of Isaac's life. He went through the motions, work, dinner, bedtime routines, but inside he was screaming with questions. If these were his daughters, where had Lisa been all these years? Why had she kept them hidden? Had his mother really paid her off? And if they weren't his daughters, well, that might break his heart too. Because in just a few weeks, Erica and Emma had burrowed into his life in ways he hadn't expected. When the envelope finally arrived, Isaac's hands shook as he opened it. He read the same line 3 times before it finally sunk in. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. Isaac sat down heavily, the paper fluttering from his fingers. Erica and Emma were his daughters. His daughters. He had 2 8-year-old girls he'd never known existed, who'd been living with an abusive stepfather while he'd been completely unaware they were even born. Anger at Lisa, mixed with grief for lost years, confusion about why she'd kept her daughters hidden, and overwhelming love for these 2 little girls who'd somehow found their way back to him. The private investigator's next report answered some questions and raised others. Lisa Sampson had been hospitalized in Cleveland 3 weeks ago with a severe infection. She'd been unconscious when she arrived, and when she'd finally woken up, she immediately asked for her daughters. She was currently in a rehabilitation facility, recovering. She was alive. Lisa was alive. Isaac made the call before he could second-guess himself. "I need to speak with Lisa Sampson," he told the receptionist, his voice shaking. "It's about her daughters." When Lisa came on the line, her voice was weak but frantic. "Do you have news about Erica and Emma? Please, I've been trying to find out where they are. Lisa," Isaac's voice cracked. "It's Isaac. Isaac Smith." The silence stretched so long he thought she'd hung up. "Isaac?" she finally whispered. "How? Why?" "I have them. Erica and Emma. They're safe. They're with me." The sound Lisa made was pure relief, a sob that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside. "Oh my God! Oh, thank God! Are they hurt? Are they okay?" "They're okay. They're safe." Isaac's hands were shaking. "Lisa, where have you been? What happened?" I was hospitalized. When I woke up, Derek was gone, and the girls were gone. I've been trying to find them for 3 weeks, calling everyone I could think of, and no one knew anything, and I found them on Christmas Eve," Isaac said quietly. "Abandoned behind a dumpster. I took them in." Lisa's sob echoed through the phone. "He left them on the street? Oh God, my babies!" "They're safe now. I promise you, they're safe." Isaac closed his eyes, gathering his courage. "Lisa, I need to tell you something. I had a DNA test done. They're mine. Erica and Emma are my daughters too." The silence was deafening. You took a DNA test?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "The girls had lockets with your picture.
I recognized you, and when I really looked at them, I saw... Lisa, why didn't you tell me you were pregnant? Why did you leave? I tried, she choked out. Isaac, I tried so hard to reach you. But your mother... She stopped, her breathing ragged. We need to talk, but not like this. Not over the phone. Can you bring them to see me? When? Asked Isaac. As soon as possible. Please. I need to see my babies. I need to see you. 2 days later, Isaac brought Erica and Emma to the rehabilitation facility. He'd sat them down the night before and told them the truth, that he was their biological father, that their mother was alive and recovering, that everything was going to change now. The girls had been quiet, processing. Erica had cried. Emma had asked if this meant they had to leave Aiden. Isaac had assured them that no matter what, they were all family now, that Aiden was their brother in every way that mattered. The reunion between Lisa and the girls was everything Isaac had hoped for. The moment the twins saw their mother, they ran. Lisa dropped to her knees, arms wide, and caught them both. The three of them collapsed into a heap of tears and I love yous and I'm sorries. I thought you left us, Emma sobbed into her mother's shoulder. Never, Lisa said fiercely, kissing both their heads. I would never leave you. I've been looking for you. I never stopped looking. Derek said you didn't want us anymore.
That was a lie. The biggest lie anyone's ever told. Lisa pulled back to look at their faces, her hands cupping their cheeks. I love you. I have always loved you. You are everything to me. The twins clung to their mother like she might disappear again, and Lisa held them like she'd never let go. Isaac stepped back, giving them space, his throat tight with emotion. Lisa looked different, older, thinner, marked by years of struggle, but her eyes held the same warmth he remembered. After nearly an hour, the girls finally relaxed enough to fall asleep, curled up on either side of their mother in the hospital bed. Lisa stroked their hair gently, tears still streaming down her face. Thank you, she whispered to Isaac. Thank you for saving them. Thank you for keeping them safe. Isaac pulled a chair closer, sitting beside the bed. Tell me what happened. All of it. Lisa took a shaky breath and began. 9 years ago, when she discovered she was pregnant with twins, she'd been terrified but excited. She'd planned to tell Isaac the day after she took the test, but his mother had found out first. She came to my apartment, Lisa said quietly, her eyes distant. She said she knew about the pregnancy, said I was trying to trap you, ruin your future. She offered me money to leave, a lot of money, but I refused. Isaac's jaw clenched, but he stayed silent, letting her continue.
That's when she got cruel. She said if I didn't disappear, she'd destroy my family, get my father fired from his job. She had connections at his company. Make sure I was branded a gold digger all over town, ruin any chance I had at a decent future. Lisa's voice broke. I was 22 years old, pregnant with twins, and terrified. So I left. But you tried to contact me, Isaac said, remembering what she'd said on the phone. I sent letters to your apartment, your school, everywhere I could think of. I called your phone dozens of times. Nothing went through. Lisa wiped her eyes. I didn't know then that your mother was intercepting everything. I thought maybe you'd found out about the pregnancy and agreed with her, that you didn't want me or the babies. Isaac reached out and took her hand. I never knew. I swear to you, I never knew. I know that now, but back then I was alone and pregnant and scared. I moved to Cleveland, worked 2 jobs, had the twins. It was hard, but we managed. What about Derek? Isaac asked, his voice tight. I met him when the girls were 5. He seemed kind at first, helped me when I got sick. Lisa's expression darkened. But after we got married, he changed, started using drugs, became violent. I tried to protect the girls, but I was so sick and he was so strong. She explained her hospitalization, a severe infection that had left her unconscious for days. When she'd woken up, Derek was gone. The girls were gone.
and no one would tell her where they were. "I've been trying to find them for 3 weeks," Lisa said, her voice breaking. "Every day thinking about them out there scared and alone, and I couldn't—"
"They're safe now," Isaac said firmly, "and Derek's in custody. He's facing charges for child abuse and abandonment. He's not going to hurt any of you again." Lisa closed her eyes, fresh tears spilling over. "How did this happen? How did you find them?" "Christmas Eve. I was driving home and saw movement near a dumpster. I thought it was trash until—" Isaac's voice caught. "Until I realized it was 2 little girls sleeping in the cold." "And you just took them in? You didn't even know they were yours?" "They were children who needed help," Isaac said simply. That was enough. Lisa looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time since he'd arrived. "You became exactly who I always knew you'd be. A good man. A good father. I lost 9 years with my daughters because of my mother's lies, but we're here now, all of us, and we're not going to waste any more time." Lisa squeezed his hand, hope and fear mingling in her eyes. "What happens now?" "Now we heal, all of us, together." The next months were a journey of adjustment and growth. Lisa went through rehabilitation with fierce determination, attending therapy to process years of trauma and abuse. She divorced Derek officially, and he eventually pled guilty to all charges against him, facing years in prison. Isaac maintained custody of the girls while Lisa recovered, but she visited constantly. The girls were confused at first, struggling to understand how Isaac could be their father when they'd just been getting used to him as their foster parent. They were polite, but distant, still calling him Mr. Isaac even after learning the truth. It hurt, but Isaac understood. He couldn't force a relationship. He could only show up, day after day, and love them.
What surprised everyone was how naturally Lisa and Aiden bonded. The first time she visited after getting out of the hospital, Aiden had shyly shown him his room, his toys, his drawings. By her third visit, he was climbing into her lap for stories. One evening, Isaac found them in the kitchen together, Lisa teaching all 3 children to make cookies. Aiden stood beside her, his small hand in hers, looking up at her with absolute trust. "Mom says we have to add chocolate chips," he said naturally, and then froze, his eyes wide. "I mean, Miss Lisa, I'm sorry." Lisa knelt down immediately, cupping his face gently. "Aiden, sweetheart, you can call me whatever feels right to you. If Mom feels right, then that's perfect." "Really?" Aiden's voice was small, hopeful. "Because my real mom left me, and I always wanted— Is it okay?" "It's more than okay, because you're part of this family too. You're their brother, which makes me your son too, if you'll have me." Aiden hugged her so tightly that Isaac had to turn away, overwhelmed. Erica and Emma watched this exchange with wide eyes. Later that night, Erica approached Isaac in the kitchen. Erica approposed Isaac in the kitchen. Aiden calls her mom. Isaac looked at his daughter, still so new and miraculous. He does. But she's not his real mom. His real mom left him. "That's true," Isaac said carefully, "but Lisa chose him. She chose to love him and be there for him. Sometimes the people who choose to be your family are just as real as the ones you're born to." Erica was quiet for a long moment. "You chose us too, before you even knew we were yours." Isaac's throat tightened. "I did, and I'd choose you again every single time."
Spring arrived with unexpected warmth. Lisa had been cleared by her doctors and had moved into a small apartment nearby, but most evenings found her at Isaac's house, helping with homework, cooking dinner, and reading bedtime stories. One Saturday in May, they all went to the park together. It was one of the first truly warm days of the year, and the kids were running wild, climbing on playground equipment and shrieking with laughter. Aiden was showing the girls how to pump their legs on the swings, when suddenly Emma lost her grip. She fell hard, scraping her knee badly enough that blood immediately welled up. She started crying, and both Isaac and Lisa rushed over. But before either adult could reach her, Erica and Aiden were already there.
Aiden had pulled out the small first aid kit Isaac always made him carry, and Erica was holding Emma's hand, murmuring comfort. "It's okay, Emmy," Erica said. "Dad will fix it. Dad always fixes things." Isaac froze mid-step. Lisa's hand found his, squeezing tight. "Dad!" Emma called out, tears streaming down her face. "It really hurts!" The word hit Isaac like a physical blow, the best kind. He hurried over, kneeling beside Emma and carefully cleaning the scrape. "I've got you, sweetheart," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You're going to be just fine." "I know," Emma said, trustingly, "because you're my dad." Later, sitting on the park bench with Lisa while their children played, Isaac said quietly, "Did you hear?" "I heard," Lisa said, tears in her eyes. "Isaac, you've been so patient with them. You've earned that." "I just love them," Isaac said simply. "I didn't know they existed for 8 years, but the moment I found them, they were mine."
That evening, after dinner, the girls asked to talk to Isaac privately. They led him to their room and closed the door, both looking nervous. "We wanted to say something," Erica started, Emma nodding beside her. "We know we've been kind of weird about the whole dad thing. It's just been a lot to understand. But we've been watching," Erica said, "how you take care of us, how you make our lunches with the crusts cut off because Emma doesn't like them, how you learn to braid our hair even though you didn't know how you chase away our nightmares and never get mad when we wake you up. How you chose us before you even knew we were yours," Emma added softly. "And we wanted you to know," they said together, "that we're really happy you're our dad." Isaac pulled them both into a tight hug, not trusting himself to speak past the lump in his throat. "I'm really happy you're my daughters," he finally managed. "The luckiest day of my life was the one where I found you." Summer arrived with long golden days. Lisa had become such a constant presence that it felt strange when she wasn't there. One evening, after the kids were asleep, Isaac and Lisa sat on the back porch watching fireflies dance across the yard. "I've been thinking," Isaac said slowly, "about us, about all of this." Lisa's hand found his. "Me too." "I loved you when we were young," Isaac continued. "I thought I'd never get over losing you. But this, what we have now, it's different, stronger." "We've both been broken," Lisa said softly, "but somehow we're putting each other back together. The kids are putting us back together." "I don't want you in a separate apartment," Isaac said, turning to face her. "I want you here, with us, permanently, with our family." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Lisa's breath caught. "I'm not saying we rush into anything complicated, but Lisa, I don't want to waste any more time. I want to build a life with you. I want our kids to have both of us, together, every day." He opened the box, revealing a simple but beautiful ring. "Lisa Sampson, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life making up for the years we lost?" Lisa was crying and nodding before he finished. "Yes, yes, Isaac, 1,000 times yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her, both of them laughing through their tears. They called the children inside, and when Isaac told them the news, Aiden let out a whoop of joy. "Does this mean we're all staying together forever?" "Forever and ever," Lisa confirmed. Erica and Emma looked at each other, then broke into the biggest smiles Isaac had ever seen. "We're going to be a real family?" Emma asked softly. "We're already a real family, sweetheart. But yes, officially too." The wedding was small and intimate, held in October in the same park where Emma had first called Isaac Dad. The autumn leaves painted everything in shades of gold and crimson. Aiden walked down the aisle first, carrying the rings with such serious concentration that several guests had to stifle laughs. Erica and Emma followed, scattering rose petals and matching blue dresses, their curly brown hair adorned with tiny white flowers. Then Lisa appeared, radiant in a simple ivory dress, and Isaac felt his breath catch. This woman who'd been lost, who'd been found, who'd fought through so much to get here. Their vows were simple but powerful. "Lisa," Isaac said, his voice steady despite the emotion, "you gave me the greatest gifts. Not once, but twice. First with Erica and Emma, and then by accepting Aiden as your own.
You took our broken pieces and made us whole. I promise to spend every day being worthy of the trust you've placed in me. I choose you today, tomorrow, and always." Lisa squeezed his hands, tears streaming. "Isaac, you found our daughters when they needed you most, and you loved them before you even knew they were yours. You gave me a second chance at the life I thought I'd lost forever. You showed me that family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who chooses love even when it's hard. Thank you for finding us. Thank you for bringing us home." When they kissed, the kids erupted in cheers. Then Isaac and Lisa opened their arms, and suddenly it was a group hug, all 5 of them wrapped together. "We're family," Erica whispered. "Forever," Emma added. "The best family in the whole world," Aiden declared. This is what real family looks like. Choosing to love, choosing to stay.
At the reception, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, the 5 of them posed for a family photo, Isaac and Lisa in the center, Aiden, Erica, and Emma arranged around them, all of them smiling so hard their faces hurt. Later, walking to the car, Aiden between his parents holding both their hands, the twins walking ahead and looking back every few steps to make sure everyone was still there, Isaac felt a peace he'd never known before. They had been 5 separate, hurting people. Now they were one family, whole, complete, and together. That, Isaac thought, as he squeezed Lisa's hand and watched their 3 children pile into the car still chattering excitedly, was the greatest Christmas miracle of all. Not just that he'd found 2 little girls sleeping on trash on Christmas Eve, but in saving them, he'd found everything he'd ever needed. His daughters, his love, his family, and finally, after years of searching, his home. If this story touched your heart the way it touched mine, please don't let it end here. Let it remind you, kindness still matters, compassion still changes lives, and hope is never wasted. Subscribe and be part of our Soul Lift Stories family, where every story lifts the spirit and reminds us that light always finds its way back. And if this moment moved you, share it. Because sometimes sharing hope is the kindest thing we can do.